Stay tuned, everybody, because it's time for the Playin on Music Row podcast with your host, Fran. Heard each week on this station. And now, here's Fran.
Well, welcome, everyone. We appreciate you joining us today. And we have songwriter artist Pascal Dennis. He's playing on Music Row today. Thank you for joining us today, Pascal.
Thank you, Fran. It's a privilege and an honor.
Well, we really appreciate having you here. Can you give us a little bit of idea when you started writing songs and performing your songs?
Yeah, I wrote my first song when I was 16 years old, and I've written hundreds of songs since then, most of them pretty bad. But then in the last 3 or 4 years, I got real good real fast, mainly because I've got a fantastic band and a great coach and our producer, Dave Logan.
Okay. I wanted to ask you this question because you mentioned Dave on here, and you many years ago you recorded a song with a producer that ended up being in Hollywood. How did that project turn out?
Well, Dave Logan, our producer, and I made a record actually 25 years ago when we were both young and foolish, and the record went nowhere, mainly because I wasn't very good. So we went off to seek our respective fortunes. So David went to Hollywood and became a successful film and TV producer. I finished an engineering degree and I started a company and raised a family. And I kept writing and playing whenever I could, but I didn't think my songs would be produced. But I wanted to write and record them for my family. And then the last 3 or 4 years, something incredible happened. And as I say, I got real good real fast. So I called up David, and by now he's teaching in Europe's best music schools. He's a composition teacher at Santa Cecilia, which is the oldest music school in Europe. And I said, David, I've written a lot of songs. What do you think? And he said, whoa, you've gotten a lot better. I said, well, yeah, I don't know what's happening. So we put a band together comprising David's best students. So we have these fantastic young players, and I've written 150 songs in seemingly no time flat. And so we've put out a record every year the last 3 years, and our agreement is we're going to keep going until one of us drops dead.
Well, hope that's a long way off.
I hope so.
Well, one of your releases is called COVID in the Doghouse Blues, and we have a video of that. We're going to play that. Well, could you give us a little bit of a background behind now, because we understand the situation with COVID, but maybe tell us how that came about.
Yeah, so this past summer I was in Rome visiting David and the band, and we were playing and recording, and I got COVID there. So when I came back, my wife banished me to my studio. So for a week, I was, working and sleeping in the studio. I wrote a bunch of songs, and my wife would feed me, under the door like a prisoner. And one of the songs I wrote was COVID in the Doghouse Blues.
Okay. Well, now we're going to play it right now.
I will and deal like Elon Musk. Slip and slide down till dusk. Cufflinks like an English duke. Bespoke suits like King Farouk. Friday night I slip my chain. I meet my buddies at the baseball game. My baby said, better wear your mask. As I was filling up my whiskey flask, I got the COVID in the doghouse blues. COVID in the doghouse blues. You're my pride and father, take a pill by golly. COVID in the doghouse blues. Yodelay, 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 olay. Talk tweeting to all my fans. Now stuck in here with this remote, channel flipping like a billy goat. I got COVID in the doghouse blues, COVID in the doghouse blues. You're my pride and father, take a pill, by golly. COVID in the doghouse blues. Yodelay, 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 yodelay. Two more days I fly to Cuba. I take you, baby, to Guadeloupe. One day you drive a Cadillac. Everybody gonna tip their hats. Well, have I dream home by and by. I wear a fancy puff and tie. But now I'm making goofy rhymes. Not a cat, no dog will give me time. I got the COVID in the doghouse blues, COVID in the doghouse blues. You're my pride and folly, take a pill, by golly. COVID in the doghouse blues. I got the COVID in the doghouse blues, COVID in the doghouse blues. You're my pride and folly, take a pill, by golly. COVID in the doghouse blues. Party yodeling, 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 yodeling.
Get our last note here. Well, that's great. A lot of people can relate to that, let me tell you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you like the yodeling. I'm
Oh,
partial to it.
Yeah, I'm saying, well, that's something I know you did not write when you had COVID, because when you get that sore throat, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Well, because that was kind of in a way biographical,
Yeah.
each part of it. Well, how other ways do you come across ideas for songs that you write?
Well, I've done my share of hard living, and I've had some really good luck and some horrible luck, and it all adds up to stories. So I'm basically a storyteller. So I write down all the stories that I've seen, and I've got hundreds of them. And then I'll take a story, I'll give it a title, and then it becomes a narrative. So I've got hundreds of stories, hundreds of titles, and I'm working through the ones that are most compelling, and most of them are true. Either they've happened to me or happened to people that I know. And yeah.
Okay. Well, who are like some of the writers or artists that have influenced you?
I connected very early on to Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, George Jones, Marty Robbins, and even Jimmy Rogers, who's really the father of country music, and who inspired the yodeling in that last song. And there was a lot of mental illness and poverty in my family. So when I heard these artists, I felt, hey, it's not just me that is going through this, and there's no need to be ashamed. This is just what life is like. So I connected at a very, very deep level. I could go on. I mean, Willie Nelson, Dwight Yoakam. There are also jazz artists and R&B artists that are really important to me, like Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett, Fats Domino, Little Walter. These are the greatest of the great.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this quick, because you're mentioning a lot of different genres. Well, how would you describe your particular sound?
I think our sound is retro. We play retro country, jazz, bossa nova, R&B, retro pop, and we especially love the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. I think what makes our band unique is that, except for David and I, they're all young players, and they don't know Merle Haggard or Hank Williams or any of the artists I mentioned. So they hear the song and we give them ideas. I'll play a lick, et cetera, and I'll say, oh, you might want to listen to this Merle Haggard song from 1973, and they'll listen and they make it their own. And it's, Fran, it's so inspiring to hear these young people translate them, and the songs come out so fresh, and yet they honor the style and the tradition. So to me, it's just a great honor to play with these young people.
Okay. Have you recorded any of the covers? Have you covered any of those songs?
We haven't. When I play in public, I always will sing. For example, I love Stardust, and especially how Willie Nelson does it. So I'll play it just solo on a guitar, and I'll play Patsy Cline songs, and I always play Merle Haggard songs simply because I grew up with them. But we have not done covers of those songs, at least not yet.
Okay. Well, we're going to be playing a song you have titled Iggy, Spike, and Lester. Being that you're biographical, I'm sure those are real people. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about them.
Well, there's a funny story behind that. So we meet every Friday, the band and I, and David, our producer. And for the last 3 years, every week I have a new song. And the band said, hold on now, how do you write all these songs and raise a family and do all the other things that you do? So I said, well, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it's aliens. So the boys gave the aliens a name. They said, okay, Iggy, Spike, and Lester. And sure enough, a few weeks later, I came back with a song called Iggy, Spike, and Lester, My Interstellar Band. And the joke is that it's the secret to our productivity and my, prolific songwriting.
Okay. Well, here is Iggy, Spike, and Lester by Pascal Dennis.
And how do you write these songs and raise a family? How do you have a band and keep your sanity? Well, I tell you all my secret. Please try to be discreet. Extraterrestrials keep me on my feet. They're from over the moon and far beyond the sun. Iggy, Spike, and Lester know how to get things done. Now you may doubt my story, but they're from Alpha Centauri. My interstellar screw propeller cyclone cellar band. How do they play their instruments? They're 7 inches high. Well, they got 14 fingers, 2 noses, and 3 eyes. And they're so fine and funny, I feel Neanderthal. They love Chinese food, but cannot handle alcohol. They're from over the moon and far beyond the sun. Iggy, Spike, and Lester know how to get things done. You may doubt my story, but they're from Alpha Centauri. My interstellar screw propeller cyclone cellar band. Iggy plays the fiddle as only Iggy can. Spike is on the keyboard, and sometime Baby Grand. Well, that Lester plays the guitar, dobro and pedal steel. Me, I write the songs and sing them any way I feel. They're from over the moon and far beyond the sun. Iggy, Spike, and Lester know how to get things done. Now you may doubt my story, but they're from Alpha Centauri. My interstellar screw propeller cyclone stellar band. My interstellar screw propeller cyclone stellar band.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a big band there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, the great horn lines, and yeah, it's just such a pleasure playing with these young people. I can't tell you, Fran.
Yes. Well, they inspire you. That's very good.
Yeah.
How is your music and career being promoted? Do you have the players that are in the team? A promotion
Well,
team?
we do. We have our band is a family affair as it happens. Our social media and brand manager is Katie Dennis, my daughter, and her and her sidekick Levi do just a wonderful job on the marketing side. Our son Matthew is a producer's assistant, and he runs my home studio. My wife Pam is our photographer and videographer, and our oldest daughter Eleanor is our legal beagle. And Dave Logan, our producer, and the boys in the band are like family as well. Yeah, we've just got this wonderful machine that just works really well together. We really like each other's company. So I can't tell you what an inspiration it's been being part of a team like this, and being able to create this kind of music together.
Well, that's great. Where have you performed, and like what artists have you performed with? Can you give us an idea?
Well, the focus the past several years, last 2 or 3 years, has been to record and release as many records as we can and to build our social media following. We're on a real creative role, so we want to get the songs down and grow recognition on all the online platforms. Once we hit critical mass, we're going to tour. So that's the sequence. So I'll play in and around Toronto and the Cayman Islands. I split my time between the two, but it's not our focus right now. It's recording and building our following internationally. God
Okay.
willing.
Okay, I understand. That's what I was going to ask you, whether you're doing performing. So you're not performing right at the moment, but in the future you'll be doing that.
Yeah, that's right. We'd like to tour in the future. Now we've got some hot spots in Europe, I think, that we might start in, and hopefully in the South, where I have so many friends. The American South is very dear to my heart, and I've been lucky enough to spend many happy days in your neck of the woods. Although I don't know Nashville as well as I know Memphis. Anyhow.
Blues, okay. Yeah, okay, fine. But let me ask this question here. Given that you have a lot of things happening, because you have a lot of new releases, maybe in the future you're going to be performing and stuff. How would people find out more about Pascal Dennis?
Well, my name on all the social media platforms is Pascal Dennis Music. So Pascal Dennis Music, and we're on all the platforms. And our website is also pascaldennismusic.com. And there's really excellent content that Katie and Levi are putting out, lots of videos and interviews and related stuff. So yeah, Pascal Dennis Music.
Okay, well, that sounds fine. Well, I've asked you a lot of different questions, but now let me ask, maybe you can give us a little idea of something maybe that I haven't asked you. Is there something you would want to say to the listening audience?
Yeah, I feel really blessed to be playing with the Crazy Angels band and David Logan after all these years. And we're committed to making the absolute best music we can. I know that some people say you got to make songs shorter and the intro shorter and you got to dumb it down, etc. And we refuse to do that. David and I and the band have committed to making the best possible music, and we're not going to dumb anything down. We respect our audience, and if a song is going to be 5 minutes long, it's going to be 5 minutes long. We're going to do it right, and we're not going to compromise, and we're going to do it until either Dave Logan or I drops dead. So, and have a heck of a good time doing it.
That's important. And that's why they don't say, where you working tonight? They say, where are you playing tonight? You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
Well, Pascal, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Really, it's been really enjoyable. I really appreciate that.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Fran, for all you do and for your support and your time.
You're quite welcome. Okay. All right, we're back. Here we go.